10 R&B and soul artists. Every single one at some point became the most hated person in music. Not hated by critics, not hated by industry gatekeepers, hated by you. By the fans who bought the albums, the people who slow danced to the records, the ones who defended these artists at the dinner table and then had to sit with what they found out. Some of them earned it, some of them didn't, and a few of them walked right into it with their eyes wide open. By the time we get to number 1, you're going to understand exactly what the title promised. Let's get into it. Number 10, Chrisette Michele. Here's a question. What if you made the most well-intentioned decision of your career and it destroyed everything? 5 minutes. That's all it took. 5 minutes, 18 seconds on a stage, and Chrisette Michele went from Grammy-winning neo-soul artist, one of the most respected voices of her generation, to Public Enemy number 1. Overnight. January 2017, Donald Trump's inauguration, most artists had already said no and loudly. Questlove offered to pay her out of his own pocket not to perform. Spike Lee went on Instagram and publicly threatened to pull her music from his Netflix series. Death threats started coming in before she even confirmed the gig. She went anyway. Her reasoning wasn't political. She saw herself as a bridge, her words. A voice that could stand in that room and represent people who felt unseen by both sides. She quoted Dr. King. She genuinely believed she was doing the right thing. And if you've ever made a decision that felt completely right to you, in your spirit, only to watch the whole world tell you that you were wrong, you already know how that feels. That specific loneliness is something else. But here's what gets me about Chrisette's story. It wasn't just Twitter hate. It wasn't just think pieces. Her label dropped her. Spike Lee pulled through on his threat. Concert halls that used to be packed went nearly empty. A film project she'd worked for, gone. And then while she was absorbing all of that, she suffered a miscarriage. She's spoken publicly about battling depression and suicidal thoughts in the aftermath. The hate was so complete, so total. It didn't just damage her career. It broke into her personal life and took things that had nothing to do with music. You can disagree with what she did. You probably do. But 5 minutes on a stage shouldn't cost someone everything, and yet it did. Number 9, Neo. You know that feeling when someone presents themselves as something and you believe it because everything they put out reinforces it? Neo built a whole career on being the sensitive one. Because of you. So Sick, Miss Independent. Songs about love, vulnerability, doing right by a woman. He wasn't just making music. He was making a case for himself. And for a long time, the world bought it completely. Then July 2022 happened. His wife, Crystal Renee, got on Instagram and laid everything out. Not an anonymous tip, not a rumor. 8 years, she said, 8 years of unknowingly sharing her husband with multiple women. That's the reason I'm so sick of love songs. And then came the detail that hit different. He had secretly fathered a child with another woman while they were married. What made it worse wasn't just the cheating, it was the timing. 2 months before Crystal posted that, they had renewed their vows. He was talking publicly about how they saved their marriage. The sensitivity wasn't just a persona, it was an alibi. And here's the part that sent the internet into a full spiral. His response on Twitter? He liked her Instagram post accidentally, his team later suggested, and then asked for privacy while promoting a music video the same day about a man who couldn't be faithful. The hate that came wasn't just about infidelity. It was about betrayal of a brand. People who had played his music at their weddings felt personally deceived. Fans who had defended him against critics for years felt like the butt of a long-running joke. He's paid close to $2 million in divorce settlement. He still makes music, but that specific version of Nayo, the one the audience trusted, that one is gone. Number 8, Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown is one of the most fascinating case studies in this entire list, and here's why. He came in hated. He left hated. And the specific things he was hated for kept changing the whole time. New Edition threw him out in 1986. You already know this, but let me be more specific about why. It wasn't just that he was too wild for a teen R&B group. It was that he was genuinely, aggressively too much, grinding on women from the audience on stage, throwing microphones at bandmates, skipping rehearsals, smoking weed. He was 17. The group gave him the boot, and a big chunk of the public sided with the group. Then something strange happened. He went solo, went harder, and became a phenomenon. My prerogative. Don't be cruel. Here was a man who looked the whole world in the face and said, I do what I want and it sells. People who'd written him off had to eat that. Then came the arrest, DUI, sexual battery charges in California. Arrested for lewdness in Georgia. He actually paid a fine at the county jail and went back to finish the show, which is somehow the most Bobby Brown thing I've ever heard. By the time he married Whitney Houston in 1992, he had become the man the world blamed for everything bad that was happening to someone they loved. And that's where the story gets complicated. Because people didn't just hate Bobby Brown, they made him into a symbol. He became the reason Whitney was struggling, the reason she was in pain, the reason she wasn't who she used to be. He carried that weight in public for 2 decades. Whether or not he deserved all of it, and he's admitted he didn't deserve none of it, the hate was disproportionate to the point where it started to feel like a different kind of injustice. He's lost 2 of his children. He buried Whitney. Whatever you think of Bobby Brown, some of that is just tragedy. Number 7, Marvin Gaye. Here's the thing about Marvin Gaye that most people don't know. Before he was a legend, he was considered a problem. The label hated him. Berry Gordy, the most powerful man in black music, the architect of Motown, genuinely despised what Marvin was becoming. Gordy had built a formula that worked. Happy melodies, safe lyrics. The kind of music you could take home to your mother. And every time Marvin started reaching for something deeper, Gordy pushed back. In 1970, Marvin brought Gordy a song called What's Going On, a song about Vietnam veterans coming home to a country that didn't recognize them. a song about police brutality and poverty and the specific pain of watching your country fail its own people. Gordy reportedly called it the worst thing he'd ever heard. Said the scat singing made it sound old. Said it was too political and would alienate white audiences. He refused to release it. Marvin went on strike. Said he wouldn't record another note for Motown until they put it out. And he didn't. A Motown executive named Harry Balk pressed 100,000 singles behind Gordy's back and distributed them to record stores without permission. That single became the fastest selling record in Motown history. Stay with me on this one. The man who created the greatest album of all time, Rolling Stone's #1 30 years running, was told by his own label that the music was garbage. And the man who made it had to fight for months just to get it heard. Marvin's personal life was its own kind of storm. Tax trouble, multiple difficult marriages, years of addiction that eventually took him away from us at 44. But the hate he faced from his own industry, from the very people who were supposed to believe in him, that's a different kind of wound. You can't unsee that. Number 6, Toni Braxton.
Don't leave me out in the rain.
Here's a number I need you to sit with. $1,972.
Say you love me again.
That's the royalty check Toni Braxton receives after selling over 40 million records. Not 40,000. Not $40 million in earnings. 40 million albums.
Don't leave me in all this pain.
Physical copies of music that had generated over $170 million for her label, and her cut, after all of it, was $1,972. By 1997, Toni Braxton had done everything the industry asked. Her debut album hit #1 on the Billboard 200. Unbreak My Heart sat at the top of the charts for 11 consecutive weeks. 5 Grammys, sold out world tours. She had become one of the best-selling female artists in the history of R&B, and LaFace Records, under the Aretha umbrella, was pocketing $170 million while paying her 33 cents per album. 33 cents. She tried to renegotiate in late 1997, asked for a fair royalty rate. The label didn't move. 6 weeks later, she filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And instead of the world asking how a woman who generated $170 million for a label ended up broke, the story that landed was about her spending habits. Dishes, flatware, home decor. That became the joke. That became the headline. The industry's role in what happened to her finances was almost invisible in the coverage. And here's the part that still gets me. She had a 10-year gag order as part of her settlement. She wasn't legally allowed to tell her own story. For a decade, people made jokes about the dishes while she sat in silence under contract, unable to correct a single word. She filed for bankruptcy a second time in 2010 after a lupus diagnosis forced her to cancel a self-financed Las Vegas residency she just renewed all the vendor contracts on. A month after signing everything, the illness wasn't a rumor, the financial collapse wasn't carelessness, but the public had already decided what kind of woman she was. If you've ever had the wrong story told about you and had no way to correct it, you know that specific helplessness. The one where the truth exists, but it's locked somewhere nobody can reach it yet. Braxton wasn't hated for what she did. She was hated for what was done to her. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. Number 5, James Brown.
So good, I got you. Wow!
Before we talk about the godfather of soul, let me ask you something. What do you do when the greatest performer who ever lived is also someone you can't fully defend? James Brown. The man is responsible for the DNA of everything you love about R&B, funk, soul, and hip-hop. You name a genre built on rhythm and groove, and it runs through him.
I feel nice, like sugar and...
Even now, decades after his death, producers are still sampling his drums, his screams, his breath. But inside the world of James Brown, it was a different story.
I feel good.
His band members were fined for missing notes, not fired, fined. Money deducted from their paychecks for musical errors mid-performance. He reportedly threatened musicians with guns.
I got you. Wow, I feel...
Left band members stranded on the road without pay. His rehearsals were so long and so brutal that people have described working with him less like joining a band and more like surviving a cult. And then there were the women.
I feel good. I knew that
Domestic violence charges, multiple allegations of abuse. By the mid-1980s, the man who had preached against drugs to black youth for years was deep into PCP addiction, angel dust, while giving public speeches about community responsibility.
so good.
The arrest that made headlines came in 1988. A high-speed car chase across state lines, Brown behind the wheel, eventually taking multiple shotgun blasts to the tires before finally stopping. He served more than 2 years in prison. Here's what's wild about James Brown.
So nice, I got you.
Even knowing all of this, when you put on I Feel Good or It's a Man's World, the music doesn't change. The genius doesn't go away.
So nice. So...
And that tension, that feeling of loving something made by someone you can't fully reconcile, that's one of the oldest and hardest questions in all of art.
So nice, I got you.
Some of y'all are nodding right now. You know exactly what I mean. You know the one.
I knew that I would not.
Number 4, Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston was the greatest pure vocalist in the history of recorded music. You can fight me on that, but you'd lose, and the world knew it. For 15 years, she was untouchable. I Will Always Love You, greatest love of all. I Have Nothing. Every note a reminder that some people are simply built differently.
We'll always love you.
And then the world turned on her, slowly at first, then all at once. It started with cancellations, late arrivals, thin appearances on stage. Then came the 2002 Diane Sawyer interview. And if you've seen it, you don't forget it. Whitney sitting across from Sawyer, visibly struggling, defending herself against rumors of crack cocaine use. She denied the crack, said it was beneath her. But she admitted the cocaine marijuana pills and delivered the line that became a headline, a meme, and eventually a kind of eulogy.
Dreamed of, and I wish you.
Crack is whack, the world laughed. The public turned that line into something cruel. Fans who had worshipped her started speaking about her in past tense while she was still alive. Radio DJs cracked jokes. Tabloids ran photos designed to show her at her lowest. Even people who loved her or genuinely loved her began mourning her as if she was already gone. Here's what I keep thinking about when I look back at that period. Whitney Houston was a sick woman fighting a disease in public with no privacy, with the whole world watching and opining and laughing while her label kept scheduling appearances and her management kept pushing product. And instead of the compassion that illness deserves, what she mostly got was judgment. She died in 2012 at 48 in a hotel bathtub. And the same people who had been cruel about her spiral held candlelight vigils the following week.
Life treats you kind.
It doesn't hurt less just because it finally makes sense. Sometimes the love that comes at the end is the hardest thing to sit with. Number 3, Janet Jackson. February 1, 2004. Halftime show, 140 million people watching. Justin Timberlake is performing Rock Your Body with Janet Jackson, and at the last second, he reaches over and exposes her breast on live television in front of the world. What follows is one of the most clear-eyed examples of gendered injustice in the history of this industry. The FCC fined CBS $550,000, the largest fine ever levied against a broadcaster at that point. Clear Channel, which owned over 1,200 radio stations, blacklisted every Janet Jackson song from its airwaves. Viacom, which owned MTV and CBS, pulled her videos from rotation entirely. Her Grammy invitation was withdrawn. She was dropped from a film she'd already been cast in. Her next album, Demita Joe, became her lowest-selling record since 1984. Justin Timberlake performed at the Grammys that same week, won 2 awards, apologized to audience applause. His career took off exponentially after that night. I want you to hold both of those truths at the same time because it matters. Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were on the same stage when the same thing happened. One of them had their career detonated. The other walked into the biggest decade of his professional life. She told Oprah in 2006 that she was forced to film an apology video by her management and that she didn't understand what she was apologizing for. And if you've ever been in a room where something went wrong and somehow you ended up holding all the blame, you know that particular silence. The one where you understand how the world works a little more than you wanted to. Janet Jackson, one of the greatest entertainers who ever lived, spent years watching radio play dry up while the industry moved on like nothing happened. That's not hate from the streets, that's structural. And structural hate leaves deeper marks. Number 2, Chris Brown.
In the middle of ecstasy, feel the melody.
Chris Brown debuted at 16 years old and was being called the heir apparent to Michael Jackson within 18 months. The dance and the voice, the stage presence, all of it was real. He was that good. February 8, 2009. The night before the Grammy Awards. The details of what happened in that car are in the public record. Rihanna was hospitalized with visible injuries to her face. The photos that leaked afterward were some of the most disturbing images the entertainment industry had produced in years. Brown pled guilty to felony assault. He was 19 years old. What came next divided the world in a way that R&B had never seen.
Moving at the speed of light into eternity. Yeah.
Some people wrote him off immediately, permanently, burned the CDs, refused the radio station, turned the channel anytime his voice came on. And you already know what side you're on. You probably knew it before I finished the sentence. Others, and this is the uncomfortable part, kept buying, kept streaming. His very next album after the Conviction debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200. He sold out arenas. Major labels kept signing him. Collaborations with other artists continued, sometimes even increased. The music kept charting, kept climbing, kept winning. And here's what makes his entry on this list unlike anyone else's. The hate wasn't just about what he did. It was about what the industry didn't do. The fact that a woman could be photographed with that level of injury, that a guilty plea could be entered in open court, and the machine kept spinning without missing a single beat, that says something about the machinery as much as the man. He's continued to accumulate accusations over the years, more allegations, more legal entanglements. The hate around Chris Brown has never fully dissipated, but neither somehow has the career. I'll let you decide what that means. Number 1, R. Kelly. Let me tell you what made R. Kelly different from everyone else on this list. It wasn't the scale of what happened, though the scale was staggering. It wasn't the length of time, though 25 years is a long time for an open secret to remain open. It wasn't even the specific nature of the crimes, which were among the most serious this list has included. What made R. Kelly the most hated artist in the history of R&B was the math between what the music made you feel and what the man had been doing while he made it. I Believe I Can Fly. Think about where that song lived in your life. Church services, graduation ceremonies, moments of real, genuine hope. That song was played at funerals because it comforted people. It was in your life during your best moments, and behind that music for the entire time were decades of abuse. Young women and girls. Reports going back to 1991. A secret marriage to a 15-year-old in 1994. His then protege Aaliyah, whose marriage certificate was falsified. A sex tape. Charges, a 2008 acquittal that shocked people who've seen the evidence. More victims, more silence, more music, more Grammys, more arenas sold out. The Chicago Sun-Times investigated him starting in 2000. Nobody stopped anything. The industry knew, parts of the public knew or suspected, and the machine kept running. Then Surviving R. Kelly aired in 2019, and everything changed, not because new information had appeared, but because people couldn't look away anymore. The hate that had been building for 25 years arrived in one concentrated wave, and it was overwhelming. In 2021, he was convicted on all 9 counts of racketeering and sex trafficking. In 2022, convicted again on federal child pornography charges. He's currently serving a 30-year sentence with a 20-year sentence running currently. The Supreme Court has declined to hear his appeal. Some of y'all grew up with his music. It was playing at your family reunions, at your summer barbecues, at your first house parties. And now you have to figure out what to do with all of that. The memory of how it felt alongside the knowledge of what was happening while you felt it. There's no clean answer. I'm not going to pretend there is. But I think the question is worth sitting with.